you'll hear a message about leadership, faiths, habits, communication, and cultural changes. These ideas help to understand ourselves and the world around us.
And you, the audience, are also part of this event. Your support and attention give our speakers confidence. So let's stay positive, respectful, and engaged throughout the program.
Let's begin.
Who wants to hear? I mean, we are all ears, yeah? We are not disabled, at least.
Because my self-esteem was very low. So I just said, "Fighting!" out loud. And maybe you will also not believe, but I felt really much better.
When we talk to friends, our problem feels lighter. When a friend supports us, we feel stronger.
So being out of our country during our formative years really affects how our personality, our culture will become later on as we grow up.
This ridiculous monkey wanted me to open up my Instagram. Yeah, it happened. So, but thank God, the first feed that came up on my Instagram was too resolute how to overcome procrastination.
And sometimes the smallest acts, just like reaching out, asking and checking up on someone, they mean so much more than you actually realize it does.
But I couldn't find a way to get to sleep. So I started to think, what problem did I have? And I noticed that the last thing I saw before sleeping was my phone.
Research suggests that only 7% of our communication is the actual words that we speak, while 55% is our body language. This means that the audience's first impression of you is primarily shaped by how you look.
You see in his hands, there's a lottery ticket. One day he won a $3 billion lottery ticket. Can I ask you, how would you guys react if you won like $3 or $5 billion?
Your brain is a superpower. You can learn whatever the life throws to you.
Why we can't show our things and our desires? Because we know it's wrong. If we can't bring it to our light, doesn't mean we know it's wrong.
Hello to glorious students of TJA and our beloved teachers, even though there's only 2 of them. Today I'm going to talk about what is a leader, and this stand is very uncomfortable, but anyway. And in our universe, in our society, there's always a group of people or a community associated with our individuals. And in that every community and in every society, there's always a leader, a person who's leading and guiding the group of people to the correct way. And I believe that everybody here will eventually become a leader one day. And even though that leader has a less authority or has a lot of authority, everybody will become leader one day, because leader is when, even though you're a couple and you have advantage over them, you're still a leader. And even though you have a family and you're one of the guardians, you're one of the parents, you're still the leader. And for example, according to one of the international laws or some countries, fathers are the leader of the family. And the rules say that the fathers are the family, and the father is the leader of the family. And what are the aspects of being a leader? The aspects of being a leader can be defined in, I think, 3 or 4 options. The first one is how much you have confidence in yourself. And the second one is how much you know, and how much knowledge do you know about leading a group and the leadership you have. And the third one is, of course, the braveness and the resilience to keep being a leader and guiding the group of people to the correct way. And of course, in order to become a true leader, in order to become a wise leader, and in order to become a correct leader where everybody supports you, you need a self-confidence. Even though the majority goes against you, even though some people goes against you and throws stone at you, insults you, and throws eggs at you, you have to be self-confident to keep going straight, even though the majority is against you. And for example, let's give a historical example. I know some people might be against me, but I truly believe that Napoleon was a great leader. I think nobody will go against that. And when Napoleon decided to invade several countries, the neighboring countries in Europe, a lot of majority people, those revolutionary parties, went against him. They were like, a lot of people will die when the war happens. And a lot of people will suffer when that war happens. So a lot of people went against him and they called him a dictator. They called him, millions of people will suffer and millions of lives will be dead when those wars happen. But even though Napoleon got several dislike comments and several opinions against him, he still kept his idea. Why? Because he had self-confidence and he had self-esteem. He had the confidence that when I invade these countries, when I get these countries, and when I rule these people instead of those ridiculous leaders, he believed that he will lead those people, he will guide those people to a truly heaven and utopia world. He had the confidence to do that. And look at my friends nowadays. They have about 5,000 years of glorious history among them, and French people are now proud of those history. Leaders need to have those self-confidence and self-esteem, even though thousands and millions of people go against it. And people, of course, they need leaders. They need knowledge to guide people. And where does these knowledge come from? These knowledge comes from learning the history, debating, and communicating with thousands of people that has different opinion than them. Leaders need to know history because that's what reflects them. And that's what guides them to make their country great or make their country great again. Every leader in our community, in our society, even in governments or everywhere, in church even, they reviewed the history of their community. They reviewed the history of their groups. And they guided their community and they guided their society according to that history. One of the famous prime ministers from England that led in British Empire during World War II, which was Churchill, he once said, "Those who forget history will erase forever from the map. Those who doesn't reflect from the history will be forever forgotten." And leaders, of course, they need to review back from history, they need to learn what has happened, and they need to guide their group of people to the correct way and what's the right way to make their society great again. And the other one, what I've mentioned was, the first one was self-esteem, the second one was knowledge, and the third one was braveness. The braveness is almost similar to the first one, self-esteem, because in order to have braveness, you have to have self-confidence and self-esteem. And what does braveness mean here? Braveness means even though you get threatened by some group of people, some extremists, some far left, far right, even though those people threaten you that I'll take your life, and those who threaten you that I'll go against you and I'll agitate people and I'll brainwash those opponents and I'll go against you, you have to be brave enough. You have to be brave enough to overcome those opponents and you have to win those people. Leaders need to have those braveness and leaders need to have those self-confidence. So what is a leader exactly? What is a leader? Leader is a person who has self-philosophy when he reviewed from his history and who studied from the past and is prepared to lead the group of people. They need to learn. The leaders need to learn how to lead the group of people according to the past and how they will predict the future. History. The reason why we study history, the reason why Mr. Jung always gives 50 minutes of speech and we need to write all those down. Why is that? Because in order to know the future, in order to predict the future, and in order for leaders to state, and in order for leaders to make strategy for the future and how to make their community great, they need to learn from the past in order to predict the future and make the future great again. And I want to end with this word. We will all become leaders eventually. Leaders of the family, leaders of the community, leaders of church, probably, leaders of the school, or leaders of the government someday, who knows. But in order to become those leaders, in order to be a great leader, you need to learn from the past. You need to learn. You need to learn from the history, and you need to have your strong philosophy. You need to have strong opinion. Even though thousands of people go against him, and even though thousands of people threaten you, and even though thousands of people make a speech against your opinion, you have to go straight. And there's some snakes around the world who suggest the leaders that this is the correct thing. And they always come up and say, this is the advice for you, Mr. President, this is the advice for you, Mr. Lee or somever. But those snakes, what their purpose is, they want to gain authority from you, the leader. You need to kick out those snakes, and you need to keep your power, and you need to make your community great again. Those snakes are the one ruining our society. Those snakes should be eliminated. There are thousands of people in every community. There are always snakes. There's ridiculous snakes. They always try to take over the power that the leader has. They say that this is advice. They say this is a suggestion. But those are not suggestions. That's not an advice. That's the way to gain power from individuals, and that's the way to take away power from the leaders. In order to become the leader, you need to have these aspects. You need to figure out which one's the snake. You need to figure out which one's going against me, and you need to eliminate them in order to make your society great again. You need to learn from history to predict the past, and leaders must have all these aspects. We're not perfect. Humans are not perfect. But we need to at least have one of these aspects to guide more than 5 million people in your country, or even less, your family members. 3, 2, 1. You need to guide these people to the correct way in order to make your community, your society, your government, your country great again. Thank you very much.